that they've engineered a way out.
And engineered feels like the right word. This doesn't read like some soft, fluffy self-help book.
No, it reads like a manual for hacking your own biology.
Absolutely. The core argument is that the world we live in, society, the economy, the daily grind, is and I'm quoting here, meticulously, strategically structured business model.
Okay.
And in this model, here's the kicker. You aren't the customer. You are the product.
I think we've all felt that at some point, like you're just a battery powering something else.
Mm-hmm.
You work to pay for the car that gets you to work, so you can pay for the house you're never at because you're at work.
That's a perfect analogy, actually, because the text uses a very specific, very dramatic metaphor for that exact cycle. It calls it the vampire.
The vampire. Okay, so we're not talking about Dracula here.
No capes, no fangs. In these documents, the vampire is the environment itself.
The environment.
The source argues that our environment has been socially engineered. It's been constructed to conform to the liking of man rather than the laws of nature. And it's designed to keep you in a very specific biological state.
This is where we need to get into the science a bit. Because when they say draining energy, they aren't talking about, bad vibes.
No, this is physiological. They are talking about the sympathetic nervous system.
Your fight or flight response.
Correct. It's what kicks in when you see a tiger in the jungle. Your heart rate spikes, your muscles tense, your digestion stops. It's a brilliant survival mechanism.
Of short bursts, right. It saves your life if a bear attacks you.
But the source is arguing that modern civilization is designed to keep that switch flipped to on permanently.
The alarm clock, the breaking news alerts, the email notifications.
Exactly. They're all micro tigers. And when you're in that state chronically, you're being drained. That is the vampire feeding. The text says, the vampire is what drains us in life.
And the cost of that isn't just being tired. This was the part of the text that really stuck with me, the manifestation gap. Can you break that down?
It's critical to the whole philosophy. The source argues that to create anything, a new idea, spiritual peace, to manifest a better life, you need to access higher brain functions.
A state of creation.
Right. But biologically, you cannot do that when you are in fight or flight.
Because your body thinks you're about to die. So it's not going to waste energy on, writing a poem.
Precisely. If your body thinks there's a tiger in the room, it shuts down the creative centers. It throttles your consciousness down to pure survival.
So that's the manifestation gap.
It's the distance between who you could be, what they call the architect, and who you are when you're stressed out. As long as the vampire keeps you stressed, you physically cannot become the creator of your own life. You remain a product.
A product manufactured to consume services and materials. That is bleak. It's like our bodies are rigged against us. But the document's called the Silver Bullet.
Mm-hmm.
So there has to be a weapon, a way to kill this vampire.
There is, and this is where the biology gets really cool because it bridges science and folklore. If the vampire is the stress response,
the sympathetic system,
then the silver bullet is the system that kills it.
Which would be the parasympathetic system.
Specifically the vagus nerve.
Okay, for anyone who hasn't brushed up on anatomy since high school, what is the vagus nerve and why is it a bullet?
So the vagus nerve is the longest cranial nerve in the body. It's fascinating. It sort of wanders from your brainstem, down your neck, past your vocal cords, your heart, your lungs.
All the way to your gut, right?
Yeah, all the way to your gut. It's the master switch for rest and digest. When the vagus nerve is active, it physically signals safety to your entire body.
So it's the biological antidote to the vampire.
It literally cuts off the supply line to anxiety. You cannot be in fight or flight and rest and digest at the same time. It's a biological impossibility.
So you trigger one to kill the other.
You trigger the vagus nerve, you kill the stress response, hence the silver bullet.
But the text gets a little esoteric here. It doesn't just call it a nerve. I saw references to a silver trumpet.
It does. The source points out that in a lot of spiritual traditions, there's mention of a silver cord or a silver trumpet. The author links this directly to the vagus nerve.
And the trumpet part, what's the connection?
It's a physical one. The nerve runs right past the vocal. And this is why the metaphor works so well. A trumpet produces sound, vibration. The vagus nerve responds to that vibration.
So speaking humming.
You are physically massaging the nerve. You are playing the trumpet to signal to your body that the war is over.
Wow. I love that image. You're signaling a ceasefire to your own biology.
You're calling off the troops. And that brings us to the next layer of this whole thing. Because we've got the hardware, The biology.
But now we have to look at the software, the code.
The numbers.
Yeah, the numbers. Now, I'll be honest, when I see numerology, I usually get a little skeptical.
Sure, most people do.
It can feel a bit like reading tea leaves. But the way this source breaks it down, it's surprisingly consistent. It all seems to revolve around the number 8.
It's all about the 8. In this philosophy, 8 isn't just a digit, it represents the infinite loop.
The shape of it.
The shape, yeah. It's also the shape of the DNA helix. If you look at it a certain way, it represents eternity. It represents Yahweh.
So 8 is the frequency of life itself, of nature.
It's the universal code, a flow with no beginning and no end. And the argument is that we've been pulled out of this frequency and trapped in a linear, man-made system.
A system of endings.
Exactly. And to prove it, they analyze the words we use every single day.
This was the Matrix moment for me.
Yeah.
Let's talk about money versus wealth.
Yeah.
Because we use them interchangeably.
Right. They mean the same thing in conversation, but mathematically they're worlds apart.
So let's do the math. This is what the text calls linguistic reclamation.
Okay, so you take the word money, apply the standard numerological values, A is 1, B is 2, and so on, and it sums up to a 9.
And in this system, 9 means?
9 represents completion, the end, a dead stop.
That is wild. So the thing we're all chasing, money vibrationally signals the end.
That's the theory. The system pushes money as the goal, but when you get it, you hit a 9, a stop. It doesn't imply flow or continuity, it implies you're done, it's terminal.
Wow. Okay, so now contrast that with wealth.
Right. If you do the math on wealth, it sums to a 6.
And 6 is the number of man or physical labor.
Correct. So in the source's view, 6 is incomplete. It represents the product. So the trap is this. You either chase money, the dead end,
The 9.
or you chase wealth, which means endless labor, the 6. Neither one gets you to the 8.
Neither gets you to the infinite loop. You're trapped.
You're trapped in a lower frequency.
This gets even heavier when we look at how we identify ourselves. The chart compares person versus spirit. This is the one that really made me just stop and stare at the wall for a minute.
This is the fundamental shift. The legal societal label of person also vibrates at a 6.
A person is just a laborer, a product.
In this framework, yes. The word implies an entity that is incomplete, designed for work, part of the business model. So by identifying as a person, you are subconsciously agreeing to be a raw material.
But spirit,
Spirit vibrates at a 1.
the source, the creator.
At the beginning. So the argument is that we are constantly casting spells on ourselves. Every time you say, hi, I'm a person, boom, you're a 6. You've limited yourself.
So the goal is to reclaim the word spirit, to align with the frequency of the creator.
The 1, it sounds almost magical, but they frame it as technology. Like you're inputting the wrong code, so the program won't run.
And they suggest this was intentional, that sacred names in ancient texts were hidden or revised to stop people from speaking them.
Because if you speak the word, you vibrate at that frequency. And if you don't speak the frequency of creation, you can't manifest your own reality. You're stuck in someone else's.
Which brings us to pseudo-reality.
Right.
This is one of the supporting documents. It's a brand name.
It is.
And on the surface, that is a terrible name for a company. Pseudo means fake. Fake reality.
Yeah.
It sounds like a scam.
But it's a brilliant linguistic flip. Think about it. The source argues that the world we live in now, the vampire system, the business model, that is the illusion. That is the fake world.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
So by branding their project pseudo-reality, they're taking ownership of that illusion. They're saying, we know this world is a construct, so we're building a new one. But here's the best part.
What's that?
Do the math on the brand name, pseudo-reality.
Let me guess. It comes out to an 8.
It sums to an 8. It matches the frequency of DNA, of eternity. So even though the word means fake, the frequency underneath it is the ultimate truth. It's a Trojan horse.
That is 4D chess, using a system's own language to break the system.
Precisely. It's reclamation.
So we have the theory, the biology, the math, but sometimes these deep dives can get a little too abstract.
Sure.
I'm sitting here thinking, okay, cool, but what do I do? What I liked about this stack of documents is that it ends with a blueprint, a literal physical place.
Yes. A 1 in 11 Ebb Street.
This isn't a metaphor, it's a house.
It is. It's described as a personal care home, but they frame it as a sanctuary. And it is specifically designed for veterans.
And the address 111 is obviously intentional.
Oh, absolutely not random. 111, 111. Remember, 1 is the creator, the spirit. So 111 is just high octane manifestation energy.